Says Cole Commander Kirk Lippold about all of this. We were going to chat about other things, and this development came, Commander. So good to see you. So this was deemed, or the concern was, that South Korea's new president, clearly a provocative act that would agitate the Chinese and the North Koreans, as if what the North Koreans have been doing of late, escalating these near weekly tests, I guess more in the past year than we've seen in the past 10 years. That was not. What do you make of this?
I think you've got a very difficult situation. Obviously, the Koreans elected a liberal government, but by the same token, they have an alliance where the defense has negotiated with the United States for this THAAD battery to come in. The Chinese are very worried that it can look into China, that it's going to disrupt things. The problem you have is now it's going to have to be settled government to government rather than military to military. We need to have THAAD there, because it is incumbent upon us to ensure that we're sending a strong signal. North Korea, yes, but more importantly to China. They're the ones that have aided and abetted North Korea's growth.
But how would, it's not an offensive weapon. I mean, I don't mean that in the general sense. No. It's defensive. So why would that be deemed such a threat? And why would that be deemed, even worse, provocative?
I think you're looking at the fact that the South Korean government views any introduction of a weapon system that is going to aggravate either China or the North Koreans as being offensive from an optics perspective,
but you would
obviously
think
defensive military. You'd think they would want it.
You think it'd be very concerned these days.
They're the ones they're the first ones that are going to live with any problems that ever occur. If North Korea in fact develops that nuclear capability where they can miniaturize to put it on a ballistic missile, the first range that's going to come is right there into South Korea. And I mean, Seoul is right next door, but we cannot allow North Koreans to develop a weapon that can reach the United States. And at some point, the South Koreans have to be told, we will do what's necessary to defend our nation.
But they're not. So you mentioned the new liberal president, Moon Jae-in, of course, who has been making overtures to the North. And you would think that the North Korean leader would have cooled it on the missile tests to give him some wiggle room. He's not. So I'm wondering if the North Koreans could be potentially making fools out of the South Koreans.
I think they're playing the South Koreans for what they are, and that is you've got a government in there that is not understanding or not appreciating the strategic threat that this ballistic missile program and the nuclear weapons program
maybe they're
are posing.
getting used to this threat. I mean, the fact is that these launches have been going on through this present dictator, his father, the grandfather. You know what I mean? That there's a history of provocative actions on their part. But what worries me, Commander, is that the message seems to be we're okay with provocations that they orchestrate, not so that we can respond to.
Well, and that's one of the big problems, is the South Korean government now needs to be made to understood. The United States is going to ensure that we maintain a defensive posture against the North Korean development so that they cannot have a nuclear weapon that can reach the United States. South Korea may live with it first, but we are going to do what is necessary to ensure it doesn't happen. We have a strong alliance. We're defending the peninsula. We need to continue to do so, and they need to get on board because this has maintained the peace on that peninsula now for decades. And to try and upset that now when they have a northern country gaining nuclear weapons capability, we cannot tolerate that.
But this was their decision.
Absolutely, it's their decision. They're a sovereign nation, they can do so, but for those decisions, the government to government now, they need to understand the consequences.
Because normally when I hear the State Department say, talk to the South Koreans, it's like they wash their hands of it.
And I think that's where Jennifer Griffin is right. This could be played out as a trial balloon into the press, and they'll back off. Let's hope that doesn't come, and in fact, the deployment of THAAD continues onto the peninsula.
Commander, thank you very, very much.